Alright, Shalom Akim. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect. Today's lesson, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, is going to go into banks and technology. Because with the banking system being merged with technology, that's going to come out to what we've been telling you all along, which is the RFID chip. Okay? As the scriptures say, no man will be able to buy and sell save he that had the mark in his hand or on his forehead. Okay, so I found this article. So I'm just going to read like maybe the introduction and the conclusion, because this is a very long article. We'll be here forever reading it, So it says the dark past of the bank for international settlements. Alright, so it says, although written by Patrick Warden in 2005, nothing has changed to the historical fact of the Bank for International Settlements. It has nefarious roots and is the tap root of modern globalization. Today, the BIS is getting headlines again because of its direction of central banks to go cashless. It is readily apparent that it has not lost its power and influence over the decades. For anyone wanting to understand how the world really works, this is a must-read paper, because everything in this world works by money. As a matter of fact, I've been watching this show on Netflix called Dynasty, which goes and shows the scandal and the wickedness of the wealthy. But one thing they say often in the show is that everything can be cured by money. Okay. One of the Rothschilds said, it was one of the top banking families. They said, give me control of a nation's money, and I care not who makes the rules. So it says, created at Bretton Woods in 1944, the World Bank has been dominated by international bankers, members of the Council of Foreign Relations, and later by the Trilateral Commission. Corruption and self-interest run amok as public funds are converted into private hands by the billions. Because when Esau Edom, the so-called white man, runs things, it's nothing but corruption, backstabbing, and it's get it by any means. Okay? The original nigga, Esau Edom. So the introduction, it says, according to the World Bank, it is a vital source of financial and technical assistance to developing countries around the world. We are not a bank in the common sense. We are made up of two unique development institutions owned by 184 countries. The International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, IBRD, and the International Development Association, IDA. Each institution plays a different but supportive role in our mission of global poverty reduction and the improvement of living standards. The IBRD focuses on middle income and creditworthy poor countries. So keep that in mind. It says the IBRD, which stands for the International Development Association, focuses on middle income and credit-worthy poor countries, while IDA focuses on the poorest countries in the world. Together, we provide low-interest loans, interest-free credit, and grants to developing countries for education, health, infrastructure, communications, and many other purposes. High-minded words like our mission of global poverty reduction and the improvement of living standards will lead the reader to believe that the World Bank is some benevolent and global welfare organization. Why is it then that the World Bank joins the International Monetary Fund and the World Trade Organization as organizations that people around the world just love to hate? In reality, the World Bank carries its weight along with the International Monetary Fund and the Bank for International Settlements to forcibly integrate minor countries of the world into its own brand of capitalist democracy. And there was an interview by, I forgot this guy's name. But you could just type in on YouTube. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Economic. Slovakia. John Perkins. And he goes into what they would normally do is they would go into countries. Predominantly it would be normally like a Latin American country, which are the tribes of Israel. They would go in there, see what resources they have, and how they can extort those resources. So, for example, if a country was big on oil or gold, but they were poor because, say if they were big on gold, but they had an issue with, water issue or whatever, with the IMF or the World Trade Organization, what they would do is they would come in there, they would offer a solution. To help them out with their water issue. Okay? But the solution, or that so-called poor country, they would give them a grant or a loan, but that grant or loan would come with particular stipulations. First of all, it would come from it would mean that they would have to hire a private company, to do whatever construction they needed. And with that private company, the private company would charge the people of the city a lot of money, or charge the city itself a lot of money to do the work. So then what? It hits the citizens. This is why now all across the world you have an influx of protests, not only for the George Floyd situation, but because a lot of people, are sick of the ones being hurt. For example, a few years back, I want to say at like 2014 in Nicaragua, a lot of the senior citizens and the retired workers, they were rioting they were protesting because the president at the time, he had cut a huge percentage off of the welfare checks in a retirement fund. So now I want to jump down to, like I said, this is a pretty lengthy article, so I'm gonna just jump to the points to make this video as edifying and as short as possible. So it says, purpose of convenience. Whatever the true purposes of the World Bank and IMF might have been, the publicly displayed purposes have changed when it was convenient and necessary. In 1944, reconstruction of war-torn countries after World War II was the important issue. And man, I just point out, World War II actually came about because you had, the elites the leaders that be over there in Britain, they were jealous of Germany's success. So what they do, they painted them as the enemy, which then in turn caused a world war. But world wars, they are very expensive. So that put Germany in deep into debt. Which made them had to take loans to which made them have to get out of that hole. So how did they get out of that hole? They took loans that Britain knew that they would desperately need. Alright, so that's just a little history on that. So it says in 1944, reconstruction of war-torn countries after World War II was the important issue. When the bank demonstrates its impotence by loaning only a pittance of less than $500 million, it changed its public image by positioning itself as a check and balance to the expansion of communism. Without the World Bank to engage all of the lesser countries of the world who were susceptible to communist influence, communism might spread and ultimately threaten to end the Cold War with an ugly nuclear holocaust. And that's the picture they would paint, but they don't tell you, how did that country get like that? Okay? They don't tell you how the country got like that. They don't tell you that about the economic hitmen, that they caused the problem and then make it seem like, they only there to help. So it's a public and legislative sentiment ultimately fizzled, and the bank was again under heavy criticism when Robert Strange McNamara was appointed president. Which he's mentioned under the American hegemony. Which this guy says, it says he was the president and director of Ford Motor Company, Secretary of Defense in the Kennedy and Johnson administration, member of Trilateral Commission, Council on Foreign Relations in Bilderbergs. With some of these names, brothers, I'm pretty sure brothers know. But it just goes to show you that he had his hand in everything to make sure things were going to plan. Okay? He's member of the Trilateral Commission, Council on Foreign Relations in Bilderbergs, honorary council trustee of Aspen Institute, personally negotiated China's entrance into the World Bank. Okay? So these devils is not slick, man.
Call ended.
So now I want to go to Slock it 1 second. Okay. Yeah, I'll read a little bit into this. I probably won't read the whole thing because it's pretty lengthy. And you know what? I want to put this on the, in the description box. You brothers do lessons on this as well. It's a really good article. Like I said, I just don't want to go too long into it. So it says poverty reduction Trojan horse. As noted above, McNamara was president of the World Bank from 1968 through 1981. He was also among the original membership of the Trilateral Commission founded in 1973 by Rockefeller and Brzezinski, and was widely considered to be a central figure in the global elite of his day. It was McNamara
who caused the focus of the World Bank to fall on poverty and poverty reduction. This has essentially renamed the siren call right into the present. This was a brilliant maneuver because who would ever say they're anti-poor or pro-poverty? Any attack on the bank would thus be reviewed as an attack on poverty relief itself. From 1968 onward, the battle cry of the bank has been eliminate poverty. This is clearly seen on the About Us page of the World Bank website, where these words are prominently displayed. It says each institution, IBRD and IDA, plays a different but supportive role in our mission of global poverty and reduction and the improvement of living standards. However, Article 1 of the Articles of Agreement of IBRD, as amended on February 16, 1989, state its official purpose as follows: to assist in the reconstruction and development of territories of members by facilitating the investment of capital for productive purposes, including the restoration of economies destroyed or disrupted by war, the conversion of productive facilities to peacetime needs, and the encouragement of the development of productive facilities and resources in less developed countries, to promote private foreign investments by means of guarantees or participation in loans and other investments made by private investors. Number 3, to promote the long-range balanced growth of international trade and the maintenance of equilibrium and balances of payments by encouraging international investments for the development of the productive resources of members, thereby assisting in raising productivity, the standard of living conditions of labor in their territories. To arrange the loans, number 4, to arrange the loans made or guaranteed by it in relation to international loans through other channels so that the more useful and urgent projects, large and small alike, will be dealt with first. But the points I wanted to highlight, it says to assist in the reconstruction and development of territories of members. Number 2 actually was, this is to promote private foreign investment by means of guarantees or participations in loans and other investments made by private investors. You see? So you basically giving your power into the hands of someone else. And there was a portion in this article that went into how Esau, these bankers, they went into Bolivia knowing that they had a water issue. Alright, so what they did was they privatized the water. And not only did they privatize the water, any maintenance or construction, the people of the Bolivians had to pay for it. So it's basically all how can I put it? All profit on their end, on the investors' end, but all bad, for those that had to pay. And these are in the fine print. This is the fine print. When you go into the Roman numerals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just keep going through. And that's the scriptures all the way, man. It says the borrower, that's the scriptures, speaks about how the borrower is servant to the lender. The scriptures also say, which Esau knows, man. Because what this devil is doing is basically
capitalizing off of the hell we go through. Which it says in Luke 16, how the dogs came and licked our sores. Basically meaning what? They got fat. They ate off of our poverty. So let me this is Sirach 29 and 21. It says the chief thing for life is water, bread. Let me see. That's a good one, but it's another one. Let me see. The principle. Sirach 39 and 26. It says the principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil and clothing. And we check out a lot of these so-called poverty-stricken countries. They have an abundance of these things. So the question should be, why are they still impoverished? And in short, it's because the devil, he gets in there, he takes what you have, and when it comes time to pay you for what's yours, he doesn't. So it says all these things are for good to the godly, because this is where trade comes in. All right, you don't just hoard everything. All right, if your land is rich in a particular resource and oil, and your brother's land is rich in, let's say, salt, then what you trade? It says, so to the sinners they are turned to evil, but to the wicked he is not satisfied with anything. He wants it all. So now going back to the article. All right, I'm gonna skip all the way to the end now. This is the part I was telling brothers about. This part is called Water Wars. So now I'm gonna skip down to the conclusion. So it says, this report does not pretend to be an exhaustive analysis of the World Bank. There are many facets, examples, and case studies that could be explored. In fact, many critical and analytical books have been written around the World Bank, about the World Bank. The objects of this report was to show how the World Bank fits into globalization as a central member in the triads of global monetary powers: the IMF, the BIS, and the World Bank. The World Bank is likely to continue to operate despite any amount of political flack or public protests. Such is the pattern of elitist-dominated institutions. Such is the history of the International Monetary Fund and the Bank for International Settlements. It is sufficient to conclude that of the two architects of the World Bank, one was a top Soviet communist agent and the other was a British ideologue totally dedicated to globalism. And it makes sense. This is why all the world is suffering from a so-called virus, that isn't any different from a common cold. And now you shut a whole country down for I just actually looked up the polls. They said it was 144,000 deaths. All right, which is only 5% of the population of the whole US. So you shut a whole country down, and what's really, those numbers can't really be trusted, because a person could die of old age and Esau calls it COVID. This devil calls it COVID.
So it says, from the beginning, the bank has been dominated by international banking interests and members of the Council of Foreign Relations, and later by the Trilateral Commission. The cry of poverty reduction is a shame to conceal the recycling of billions of taxpayer dollars, if not trillions, into private hands. And with the whole world being shut down from the COVID-19, that's going to be the same cry that was going to push, for what? A new beginning, a new world order, as we've been telling you people. Okay? To help the world in the time of need. Really, I was thinking about it, and these banks, especially these banks, a lot of these different stores, they've been pushing for cashless, I can't even say the word, cashlessness for a while now. For example, you think about it. You go to the bank, you talk to the teller, tell them what you want, and they say, well, if you have online banking, you could do this online. But now you think to yourself, well, you might even ask them, well, if I do this online, you keep telling me to do this online, wouldn't that take away from your job? Which most people don't think about that. But the point being is that they've always been trying to gear you up to go cashless. Here, download the app. It's safer. You don't have to come in and deposit a check. You can take a picture of it. Same thing. If you go to a phone store, you need help with your phone. They don't know a damn thing. They say what? Call the customer service support. It's like, if I do that for everything, what are you for? They don't give you any information about your bill. They don't know a damn thing. So everything has always been going cashless. It's just now to where it's making more sense to people. All right, now you have the coin shortage. Everything at the supermarket, most things at the supermarket, like you could have 20 aisles, 20 places where you can go see a cashier. That might have been 5 years ago. Now, out of those 20, probably 7 of them are 7 of them are self-checkout, and then out of that, it's mostly cashless. It's mostly card. I went to the store the other day. The dude asked me to cash a card, and then when I told him cash, so he sent me to this, the register where the girl was going to check me out. And I get this, she's saying, no, I'm sorry, we only take cards. So I'm thinking like, it is what it is. I have my card on me, but at the same time, they're trying to gear you up to be cashless, and then God forbid you spread a germ by giving somebody a $20 bill. So it says, from the beginning, the bank has been dominated by international banking interests and members of the Council of Foreign Relations, and later by the Trilateral Commission. The cry of poverty reduction is a sham to conceal the recycling of billions, if not trillions, recycling of billions of taxpayer dollars, if not trillions, into private hands. The cry of poverty reduction diffuses critics of the bank as being anti-poor and pro-poverty. Corruption at the World Bank goes back decades, if not all the way to the very beginning. We've been telling you people this. Now I want to go to another article, which I got one portion out of this article I really want to get into, but it says tech has been a pandemic savior for the market and has been richly rewarded. So what happens now? So it says tech in the age of COVID-19, earnings are expected to stand strong after pandemic turned the world for which the tech industry had prepped. But that doesn't mean the future is bright for all tech companies. But I want to skip straight down to the point, which I found interesting. So it says Market Watch recently spoke with 4 experts where was it? Now I go. Let me see. Damn, where I see that at?
But this article, it just goes into how overnight. That's why I wanted to find that portion of the article. Basically, goes into how overnight everything went from technical to digital. For lack of better terms, meaning hand to hand type shit. Type deals to everything being digital. Let me see. Damn, bro. Yeah, I can't find it. I don't want to take too long looking for it either. But this art, that's the point I had wanted to grab in the article. So, business, my trajectory is. Yeah, I can't find it. It is what it is. Alright, but next article I wanted to grab is let's see. This one where it says let me see if we find some meat here. It says banks must leverage 5G, AI, and cloud to meet post-COVID-19 challenges. So it says the pandemic has impacted every industry, forcing many organizations to make rapid and often substantial changes to their operations. Banking is an essential industry service, and in addition to facing its own direct challenges, has had to support customers' responses to the pandemic. Appropriate digital technologies and their effective deployment has been key to meeting these challenges, and a recent virtual summit organized by Huawei provided valuable insights into how the financial industry is leveraging digital technology to meet COVID-19 and other challenges. Which, if I'm not mistaken, in that company, Huawei is a one of the top tech companies as far as internet and the one of the top tech companies. I believe they do a lot of business with China and different countries around the world. But it says the event attracted some of the world's leading financial institutions: Shanghai Pudong Development, China Construction Bank, Sieber Bank, BBVA. Unsurprisingly, attendees identified mobile AI and cloud as its key technologies underpinning the future of banking, and there was a particular focus on the potential of 5G to open up new opportunities. The challenges facing banking post-COVID-19 were spelled out by Michael Araneta. He presented the result of research conducted looking at how banks should exploit digital technology. He presented the results of research conducted with Huawei, looking at how banks should exploit
digital technology to meet these challenges. Results of the research will be published in August. So it says a data-driven recovery. An overarching theme of our NetEx presentation was that banks' ability to easily access and analyze multiple disparate sources of data will be key to recovery. Banks are seeing the emergence of a new class of data that are created by the customers themselves now that their activities have been shifted online and facilitated by open banking sharing standards. There is also data-led engagement that emphasizes the need for accurate, reliable, and trustworthy data that allows us to use data from various internal and external sources to create what he describes as a recovery-ready risk frameworks he said banks would need, among other things. This is data, the ability to get to predictions and next best actions quickly. All right, so it goes to show you too, when as you read this article, that things will never go back to normal. The new normal, okay, is technology. Well, this goes on to say, if you read down into the article, what we're going to, it says that goes into 5G, AI, and cloud. So it says 5G is the future of mobile. All right, which really this article goes into how 5G is the future of all these companies. You know, you think about it, if you got a restaurant business and you don't do business with Uber, Grubhub, whatever ride sharing company, or you don't do delivery, you out of business, man. So they'll push it to these companies. These banks will push it to these companies. All right, how technology saved their business. So it says 5G is the future of mobile, said Jason Xiao, president of the Global Financial Services Business Unit of Hawaii's Enterprise Business Group. Mobile is not only applicable to the interface that connects with the client, but also to the internal operations and collaborations with partners, and supporting this mobile-centric business will require new IT architects and key capabilities of 5G, AI, and cloud. Banks will therefore need to successfully integrate these technologies and exploit their synergies to ensure future competitiveness. So hey man, just read, you know what I'm saying? Well, just watch, as the scriptures tell us to, because that's the main thing. When these banks, when they get more intertwined with the technology, all right, the main thing is that RFID chip that must be pushed worldwide prior to this devil coming out of power, prior to hell being cast into the lake of fire. It says in Revelations 20. Meaning, prior to the realm which Esau rules, this rulership, okay, being taken out by the fire from the chariots as well as from the nuclear missiles. So this is Revelations 13 and 15. 14. And deceive them, as we just read in the article about how these banks go under the disguise of poverty reduction, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Okay? What is the beast? The beast is that fourth beast written of in Daniel 7, the Roman Empire. Okay? Which was revived and basically named America. Saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Again, Rome was taken out
for 1,000 years by Jake, and then it came back, you know. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. The image of the beast is the infrastructure of this place, you know, the politics, the morals. They all go back to what? Ancient Rome. All right, image is a depiction of something. This place represents ancient Rome, from the low morality, okay, to the infightings and the civil wars, you know, to Esau backstabbing each other, you know, politically wise. You got one sect against another sect, which had the wound by a sword and did live. You know, it says he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. You know, just as financially, if you didn't bow down to the IMF, they come in there and say, I want your country, you know, or I want to do business with you. If you said no, they will ruin your they would take the country by force. That's what's gonna happen if you say no to the RFID chip. Nevertheless, if you don't say no, the Lord is gonna destroy you. He's gonna leave you here for nuclear missiles, as it says in Revelations 14:9. So it says that he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. With that, shalom.